We're live.
Meow.
We are.
We are.
We're live, and we're going to
We're live.
we're actually going to cover the rest of Worm this
How
time.
many arcs are there?
There are 30 arcs.
We covered up to 18.
We just covered 19.
So you think we'll get through 11?
I think we'll get through, yes, because I will summarize things more quickly.
Are
Like
you
I
gonna
said,
talk faster?
I think I'll just not talk faster necessarily, but I will kind of like just underscore like the generalities of each arc. I'll summarize it even more, basically.
Yay! I mean, I know you're not really a details person. Should we go over the thing in the chat that we were talking briefly about before we popped in here?
Oh, you mean what Crispy wrote?
Yeah, should we address that?
So the fact that that Trickster basically betrayed his teammate and his teammates and also the Undersiders, right? Basically screwed over the Undersiders because he sided with Noel.
I mean, he had a crush on Noel.
Oh yeah.
Also, aren't they teenagers?
Yes.
To quote Death on the Nile, you don't know what people will do for love.
For
Bum, bum, bum.
love.
And me sitting on the couch eating a bag of chips next to my husband. Or you could just like chill.
Right. Y'all need to chill.
Like, man, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're pretty chill. Our like whole relationship, our love story, as you will, it was quite chill. It was very chill. Everything was chill. The wedding actually wasn't super stressful. Well, the wedding day itself was kind of.
Yeah,
but,
I think your friend said that instead of being a bridezilla,
I was a bridechilla.
you were a bridechilla.
Like, oh, well, Panda, well, what do you want to do? Like, The wedding dress, like, oh, well, this is nice. Oh, but this is nice too. And the cakes were like, this is nice. What do you think, honey? Well, I like this.
Yeah.
Do you like this? The coordinator just being like, sorry. We're like, are you okay? She's like, I've never seen couples work together like this. You're asking for each other's opinions. And we just looked at each other like, why is this unusual?
Mm-hmm.
Where she's like, no, you don't understand. People are really like, it's always like, one person like telling the other person what to do. And it's just kind of like, I'm thinking to myself, I haven't met these people. So I can't comment. Are this marriage is going to last?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like, I get that they're teenagers, and it's like, you don't know people love. And again, I'm like eighth and possibly on the arrow spectrum, so maybe I'm not allowed to comment on it, but I'm also just kind of like, you guys could just chill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it, you guys are teenagers, and teenagers do stupid things for love. See Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, like murder.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can murder for love, right?
Again, see Shakespeare stuff. Like,
Yeah.
people are murdered. Like, that's how, how do you know if it's love if you're not willing to, like, myrtle a few folks for it?
Mm-hmm.
Yandere simulator all around.
Yeah. All right. Shall we get started?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what else to say about the Trickster thing other than, yeah, Trickster is kind of an asshole.
I mean, his name is Trickster.
Yeah.
And, well, I kind of get it. I mean, what people do.
Yeah.
Murder's always on the table. I mean, I guess I watch a lot of true crime, so I guess there is a lot of, like, murdering for, like, lack of love or wanting love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, money makes sense, but love, it's like, move on, man.
Yeah.
Money I get, but love, it's like, move on.
All right. Arc 20 is one of my favorites, actually.
Oh, why's that?
Let me talk about it a little bit. It's actually a very short arc. And in this
that's
arc,
a good reason to like it.
that's a start, yeah.
I'm an asshole.
In this one, do you remember Greg from like way back in Arc 1? He was like,
I'm sorry. Greg Universe is the only thing.
I think he made the same joke last time. he was this classmate of Taylor's who's kind of a goober and like never knows how to shut up. Right?
I know people like that.
Yeah. So Greg, in the previous interlude, Greg is online on the internet forums, and he figures out Skitter's secret identity and starts...
I don't remember this!
I did not summarize this to you. I'm telling you now.
Oh,
but
he does it now. He didn't figure it out back then.
Yeah, he did not figure it out back then.
Okay.
He figures it out.
Holy shit, my memory's like a sieve.
He figures it out in 19.y, and I did not mention it at all. But
19.y?
yes. Anyway, so one of the two interludes in Arc 19, okay? The end interludes. So he figures out that that Skitter is actually Taylor and starts mentioning it around the school, like just spreading it.
Dude, what the hell?
So Taylor's just like, well, I mean, school's starting back up. I'm gonna have to go to school to deal with him, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to myrtle him. No way around it. You're just gonna have to myrtle him.
Because like Taylor did not want to actually go back to school, but this was kind of an excuse. Exciting. Yeah, this was kind of an excuse for her to like.
Did she myrtle him? I mean, Quill was first blood, as you will.
Well, let me ask you. Do you think Taylor's gonna murder him?
No, but a girl can dream.
Okay, so you can dream, but she does not murder him.
Aww.
Yeah. She so.
Man, but I love murder.
So like after some I think after having a nice lunch. Hold on.
That was a disclaimer. I'm joking when I say I love murder. So if if some detective comes knocking on my door because of some, I don't know, something actually happens, I'm commenting on a fictional work. Chill.
Yeah.
I don't actually love murder.
Okay. All right. So she's actually on speaking terms with her dad now.
Oh, Danny boy.
Yeah. So she has a nice lunch with her dad, and then deals with some thugs in her territory, and then goes to Arcadia High School, which is now reopened.
Why are there still thugs? Wait,
I mean, she's going to Arcadia because Brockton High is still closed. So everybody, all of the kids are going to Arcadia now.
Is Punch a hero?
Yeah. So she goes to Arcadia.
Where anyone could be a secret superhero.
She finds Greg and basically intimidates him into shutting up.
With her bugs?
Not with her bugs, but just like talking to her about it. Talking to him about it. And
I would have you mean she bugged him?
Yeah, she bugged him.
Hey.
And Emma actually shows up.
Emma?
Yeah.
That bitch.
Right?
That bitch. You should what should you do with her?
Mm-hmm.
What bugs
so
in Brockton Bay? You should lice her. You should like give her lice.
Mm-hmm.
Head lice. All the lice. You should give her like actual literal earworms and head lice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what you should do. I guess Brockton Bay is too cold for block flies. That's pretty bad. They lay eggs into your skin.
Uh-huh.
And then they hatch.
So Taylor kind of like, you can see how far Taylor's come here because instead of being afraid of Emma, she's no reason to be afraid of Emma. Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. So she and Emma actually face off, and Emma does her best to keep bullying Taylor like she usually does.
Oh my god! Wait, so she knows Taylor is a villain, and she's wanting to.
No, she doesn't know.
Okay, because Gregory was.
Greg is spreading gossip that he knows who Skitter's identity is.
Oh.
But I don't think he exactly said who she was.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Emma shows up, confronts Taylor, and Taylor doesn't actually get affected by the bullying anymore. So Emma actually steps forward to try to slap Taylor.
What?
Right?
What? That bitch. That little bitch.
And
oh my god, kill her.
And as a part of this, Emma actually gets in trouble.
Oh, well, good. Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Why did she get in trouble? I thought she had dad prestige armor.
Well, sure, she has dad prestige armor, but this is a new school with a new system, and the principal actually I think sees what happens and gets Emma in trouble, and Taylor's scot-free, right?
Oh.
Actually, when Taylor goes to the office, she finds out that the principal actually is
Miss Piggy.
No, not Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy is not there. The principal is under Tattletale's thumb. So
what does that mean?
It means that she's working for Tattletale on some level and is aware of Taylor's situation.
Working for Tattletale, so the way that Taylor employs Sierra.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So Taylor doesn't know how to feel about this because for once the system is on her side. right?
Girl, milk it.
Yeah.
Milk it, girl.
Yeah.
You know what? I say you do to Emma what, like, do Mean Girls. Cut holes in her shirt.
Right. But yeah, the principal gives Taylor a warning. Well, the principal says, you know, you can come to school if you want, right? Just try to keep a low profile, don't do anything. And Taylor actually starts considering it, right? But as part of that visit to the principal's office, something happens.
Oh dear.
So
The way you said that.
yeah, something happens. What I didn't tell you is that Dragon, the super hacker AI, right?
I know what Dragon is.
Figured out who Taylor was the last time they had a confrontation.
Which was...
I glossed over it. It was during the Coil arc when Coil said, "You need to go attack the PRT."
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
she had a confrontation with Dragon there.
Oh yeah, that's right. They fought Dragon.
Yeah, during that time, Dragon figured out who Taylor was, and basically put on like a search for
She Googled Taylor, but in real life.
yeah, it's just like, oh, if a Taylor Hebert shows up, like notify me immediately, right?
Shows up to where? Arcade
Anywhere, like
Anywhere.
it shows up on the system, right?
Okay.
So as soon as Taylor kind of like checks into school and enrolls, like an hour later or something like that, or like within half an hour, the school is surrounded by the wards with a bunch of heroes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
And
no.
Taylor is trapped, and she has to like hide, and she tries to escape.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I feel so bad for her.
She tries to escape, but she's cornered.
A normal life. She could have had it. Oh.
Yeah. She tries to send out decoys. Those don't work. Clock blocker like is able to like keep her from escaping, so she instead tries to hide out.
I know she attacked the PRT, but does the fact that she kind of helped save you guys from Leviathan and also concocted the plan to get rid of the slaughterhouse man, does that really not matter, like, even a little bit to you guys?
Hmm?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I feel like she might have been able to, like, cause some serious, like, really serious damage to you guys, and she didn't. Shouldn't that be taken into consideration just a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is my biased Panda opinion, and I like it. I'm biased.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of like, really, guys? She helped save your town a couple of times.
Right.
Actually, more than a couple of times.
Yeah. So, at this point, this was revealed a while ago, but Armsmaster has changed his name and
Nutmaster
to Defiant. And
He's a villain now.
he completely wears like this bodysuit, like, and he's basically replaced himself with cyborg parts.
What?
Because he's been working with Dragon, and Dragon has basically been helping him because he lost his arm. Like, so he's completely replaced a bunch of his body parts with machines now. Meanwhile, Dragon has given herself a mechanical body.
So they're ghost in the shell.
Yeah, they're ghost in the shelling at this point. So Defiant and Dragon, Defiant has been allowed to return to the PRT under a new name, essentially. Everyone...
Dude, this is such bullshit.
Oh,
this
yeah.
Is bullshit. He is the worst. He is the actual worst, and he gets to go back? Like, look, I'm sorry. You guys are fucking morons. Like,
So...
PRT, no. They're fucking morons. They are. They really are.
Defiant and Dragon arrive at the school, right? And Taylor's hiding out...
I hope you all die.
Taylor's hiding out in the cafeteria at this point.
Oh.
Defiant and Dragon show up.
Food fight?
Food fight? No food fight. And
Teenage fighting.
and they out her as Skitter, essentially. They call her out and just be like, "We're here to arrest you, Taylor Hebert, aka Skitter,
for
your crimes of terrorism and like taking over the city and multiple counts of like of assault and murder and robberies, right?"
This is such bullshit. Like, they let Nubmaster come back.
Right.
After here's
the thing, actually.
He did during the Leviathan arc, killed people, killed other supers.
Here's the thing,
he
though.
Can come back?
During this confrontation with Defiant and Dragon, Defiant tries to apologize to Skitter.
little too late for that,
Mhm.
Rob. Just a little. It's just a little too late.
And here's the other thing.
Uh-huh.
They implied that the reason they're here to arrest Skitter was because
there's a hit out on her, and this is like a protective arrest.
there's not a hit out on her. It's not a protective arrest. What they heard was a precog, a specific precog was recommending that they capture her here.
So this is Minority Report now, huh?
They are referring to Dina. They heavily imply that Dina is advising that they arrest Skitter here. So Skitter feels, of course, understandably, very betrayed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Skitter thinks about how to get out of the situation.
Wow, Dina, wow, girl, you owe Taylor your life.
Right? So Taylor thinks about how to
I know you're all drugged up and shit, but like, wow. I almost want to ask, like, what's the reason for this? Why?
I will explain it at the end of this.
Why is the whole world against Taylor? Like all the.
I will explain it, right? But at this point, Taylor thinks, I'm in a sticky situation. How the fuck do I get out of here? And she makes a speech, basically, and says, if there's anybody who believes in what I've been doing, right? Who
Gregory!
Right?
Stand up and be counted!
Who wants to help me and protect me, please stand up right now. And like,
nobody gets up.
No, maybe like a good 1/3 of the student population gets up and surround her so that the heroes can't attack her, essentially.
Holy shit.
And as one, they just walk out of the cafeteria. Right? This is why this is one of my favorite arcs, because it's kind of like a culmination of everything Taylor's been doing up to now.
You can hear the clapping, yes?
Yes. And for once, she feels like that all her hard work has paid off. Or at least, to me, it feels that way anyway.
Yeah, that seems to be the way it's
played. She manages to escape,
oh my God, girl.
but she realizes now that she's outed, she can't go back home. And so she sends a butterfly to her dad to say goodbye and then runs off. And it's revealed at the end of this arc. It's revealed at the end of this arc that when Dina was sent back home, this was established. Dina left 2 pieces of paper with Taylor. And we're not told what's on those pieces of paper until now, right? Those 2 pieces of paper say the following. The first is cut ties. And the second one is I'm sorry. Yeah, cut ties and I'm sorry. And the implication here is Dina might have sent the PRT to arrest Taylor because this is what's necessary.
Again, hints of Greek myth. You're familiar with the story of Oedipus.
Mm-hmm.
You know how he ended up in that situation? Because Tiresias, the blind prophet, told Oedipus' parents, the dramatic irony bit. But this is I don't know if there's a name for this trope, but I'm going to call it the dilemma of the seer or the paradox of the seer, in that their actions directly cause the future they're afraid of to happen.
Yes.
Like, this is what happened in Oedipus, right? Tiresias tells, I think the king and queen of Thebes, that, their son is going to kill the dad and marry the mom. So what does the king of Thebes do? But, the queen, Jocasta, is going to give birth to a son.
Right.
So what does he do? He sends this kid off to be killed. But then somebody takes pity on him, and that sets the whole thing in motion. Yeah.
Exactly.
It, right? Like, and then Oedipus hears the whole thing, and he leaves home too. So it's that same thing.
Mm-hmm. But to be fair, we kind of know how Dina's power works, right?
Yeah.
So Dina is able to figure out like odds and like chances of success for X, Y, or Z.
The note. I mean, I guess it's cut ties, and I'm sorry, but I'm just like, girl, how old is she?
Oh, she's like 12, 13?
Right, she's 12 or 13, so that means she's at a reasonable reading comprehension level where, I don't know, could you have sent a fucking email and explained? If you had, listen, we know Taylor. If Dina, she has more self-worth now, yes, but if Dina had actually, I think, explained why she was doing this, Taylor's still tries to think of the good of her community and of the planet.
Mhm.
If Dina had explained, Taylor might have gone with it.
Right. Well, let me argue here because now we're diving into
Yes.
fan debate territory, right? In my opinion, if Dina had mentioned too much, that could have changed the odds of success too much as well.
Yeah, but again, you're now just boxing yourself into the prophet's dilemma.
Right, exactly.
It's just either way you're screwed.
Dina might have asked herself, what is the action I can take that will lead to the highest probability of success? And those actions might have literally just been give her these 2 pieces of paper. Right? Like,
that lot of good that did.
Well, in any case, Taylor is now outed. She can no longer be Taylor. She is now just Skitter, right?
Oh, poor girl.
This gets a lot of media attention. We get reactions from in an interlude. We get reactions from Sophia, Danny, the PRT,
Fuck Sophia.
from the Slaughterhouse 9.
Sophia was Shadowstalker, right?
Yes, Shadowstalker's in a juvenile detention center.
Ha! Fuck you.
Yeah. And then we find out that Accord, who we met in the Travelers arc, he's the really I say prim and proper. He's the really like OCD guy who hooked the Travelers up with Coil. Right? Accord's superpower here. Accord's superpower is actually Accord's superpower is the same one that what's her name has from Bungo Stray Dogs.
Yosono?
Not Yosono.
Choka?
The one who is able to write perfect plans.
Louise
Alcott. Yeah.
Alcott.
Yeah. So Accord's power is the ability to make like perfect plans, but they have to be followed to the letter. And he's kind of got this Cassandra deal too, where like he'll write down plans and people would just be like, no way I'm gonna follow these, right? Because they often end up being violent plans, or they'll end up achieving effects that maybe they don't want to have happen. But either way, his superpower lets him execute intricate, complex plans for his own desires. Yeah. So Accord is showing up in Brockton Bay and is meeting with the leaders of the territory, aka the Undersiders. Right? The Undersiders meet with a bunch of new prospective teams who want to move in because they're kind of the mob boss of Brockton Bay now.
Oh, girl, you moved up in the world. Oh, man. I'd drop out of school, too.
Yeah. So there's 3 groups. Accord's group is the Ambassadors. Then there are the Teeth, who are like this roving band of like kind of serial murders, led by the Butcher. The Butcher's power is actually really scary.
I mean, his name's the Butcher, so it's gotta be bad.
I think her name's the Butcher.
Ooh!
But the Butcher is kind of
it's
an inherited title, actually. Here's what's scary about it. The first Butcher was really not that formidable a foe. But the thing is, the person who defeated the Butcher became the next Butcher because they inherited the Butcher's power, but also inherited that original Butcher's consciousness.
Oh.
So now there were.
So it's like it's like one for all, but parasitic.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so now there's like 2 consciousness in a body, right? Oh. And the first Butcher and the second are like arguing, maybe after some time that person goes crazy and has to like starts going on a rampage or something, and then a third person kills the Butcher and they become the Butcher, right? And so on and so forth.
So I guess can you kill the Butcher? Like, do you end this cycle by like just trapping the Butcher forever and like just letting them die of old age?
Right? We don't know, right?
Well, I guess if you're someone called the Butcher, powerful,
yeah. So I think we're on Butcher number, I forget, 14 or something like that.
So number 14. 14 is my lucky number.
Yeah. So we're on Butcher number 14, and she's the leader of the Teeth, right?
It's me. See, I'm Bloodthirsty Panda. I work with teeth.
Yeah.
I work with teeth. 14 is my lucky number.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodthirsty Panda. Yeah, it's me.
And then there is a third group called the Fallen, who have decided to come.
Emo.
Yeah, they've come to Brockton Bay.
Emo. Are you guys goths or emo?
Worse. They're a religious cult who worships the Endbringers. They're like Satanists, basically. Metalheads, I guess? Maybe? No, metalheads are nice, yeah. Okay, no.
Your groomsman was a metalhead.
Yeah, so the Fallen, a zealous religious group who worships the Endbringers, also come to town.
Why are there always these? Why? Every universe, every
Right?
TV show, there's always these people. I mean, I feel maybe in our world we're a little lucky in that they tend to kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my god.
Okay, let me keep going. The Fallen are led by Valifor, who
Valifor?
whose power is
There's so many Valifors in JRPGs and
Uh-huh.
manga that I'm just like, really? Valifor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
His power is if he can see you, he can give you an order and you'll do whatever he says.
Okay, Daddy.
Yeah. So that's Valifor.
So he sees you, he gives you an order, and you do whatever he says.
Mm-hmm. The ambassadors are willing to obey the Undersiders and listen to them. But both the Teeth and the Fallen are not willing to accept their terms, right? So Arc 21 is kind of like the Undersiders shoring up their defenses and basically saying, this is our territory. If you don't listen to our rules, you don't if you fuck with us, we will fuck you up, right? Let's see. 21.1, the Undersiders gear up for war. The PRT takes a hit in terms of their reputation.
Well, I mean, you guys rolled into a high school, guns blazing, and tried to arrest a teenager.
Uh-huh. And Director Pagot actually gets ousted, and her position is given to Director Tag instead.
I guess her bacon with some sunglasses is cooked.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
Because the bacon was brought home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Director Tag is the new director.
Tag?
Yep. Tagg. And he basically tells
where do these names come from,
man? He basically tells Taylor, like, maybe I can't do anything about you, but you care about your dad, don't you? Like, if you pull off anything, like I could make his life kind of a living hell, right?
You know, the good guys are really, they're terrible.
Yeah, Director Tag is even more of a hard ass than Director Pagot, which is like yeesh, right?
I mean, she tried to firebomb the city. Well, she
did firebomb the city.
Just like,
yeah.
She's like, the best course of action is to firebomb the city. And this guy's just like, no, listen, what the hell? I guess that's part of the story, but I'm just like, that's the thing that the villains do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the villains usually do. The whole like, Miss Taylor, I think we come to an agreement. You love your father, yes? Well, do anything, and your father gets it.
He doesn't threaten violence. He doesn't threaten violence on Danny. What he threatens is, here, let me pull it up again. It was something like, every time you pull something like that, I could pull your dad in for like hours of interrogation.
That's harassment, and this is still blackmail.
Yeah. I could pull your dad in for questioning every time you pull something, for example. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter who it's directed at. You or your team do anything that gets an iota of attention, I drag the man into the building and grill him for a few hours at a time. I felt a knot in my stomach. That's harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tag said, it's a war of attrition. I'll find the cracks. I'll wear down and break each of you, if you're lucky. Then 5 years from now, they'll remember your names, speaking them in the same breath as they talk.
Spiders up his nose.
Right.
It's a short passageway from the nose to the brain. You know what? Yeah. Get something small and really nasty. Crawl it up his nose and into his ears and into his eyes. Those are all open channels into your head and eat his brain from the inside out.
Yeah. Anyway, so Tag sucks.
He needs his brain. Eat his brain. Eat his brain. Eat it.
Yeah. Taylor kind of like takes stock of her situation, like as a warlord of Brockton Bay at this point. She has a talk with her mom's grave. She checks in on Regent and Imp. Regent and Imp. Oh,
she's still around?
Yeah, she's still around. She's part of the Undersiders at this point. There. The three of them take down the Fallen.
Wait, Regent and Imp.
Regent, Imp, and Taylor. Yep. Just the three of them take down the Fallen. At least the cult who's visiting. There's they're actually like a nationwide organization, but just a group of them came to visit, right?
Right.
And to set up, right? They didn't kill them, but Taylor blinds Valifor.
Good.
And then sends them out, like packing, right?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys kind of asked for
it. Get this? Regent and Imp are dating. You're processing. And Taylor's just like, oh, I did not want this. She's just like, this might be a bad idea. Like, Imp even says, like, oh, I let Regent control me, like, when we do it.
I was about to say, like, there's some serious kinks going on.
Yeah. And Taylor's just like, isn't that super dangerous? And Imp's just like, oh, well, I mean...
she said.
She's just like, I'm not worried about it, because if my power ever activates, like, I immediately escape his control. So it doesn't matter to me, right? So yeah, it seems like those two have a thing developing.
Developing. I think it has.
Or has developed, yeah.
Oh.
So Brian and Taylor have been an item for a while now. I forgot to mention this. At the end of the Slaughterhouse 9 arc, they have a conversation.
I remember. No, I remember.
You remember this
conversation, and I was just kind of like, "What? I don't know."
Yeah, I
feel so weird about all this. It's like,
they got together.
Oh, it feels weird. It's like, okay, they're not my children, but it's like when your child comes up to you and it's just like, so yeah, Mom, I lost my virginity, and you're just like, I need a drink.
Yeah.
Mommy's gonna sit down. You hand me you hand me some wine. No need for a glass. Just give me the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we need to talk. I feel like, oh God, they grow up so fast.
Right. They have a conversation, and they're basically just like, yeah, our relationship's not really working, so they break it off.
Okay. I mean, I didn't really think that was gonna work out, given their history.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was gonna work out. It was a cute possibility at the very beginning, but after the whole Brian getting fridge and Taylor walking away from him while he was in the fridge, I'm just like,
mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I guess I still like you, and I'm just kind of like, no.
I think it was just like, oh, we're not providing with each other like the things we need, probably.
Which is what?
From Taylor, but like Brian kind of needs someone more affectionate, I think, and someone a little more
your face
empathetic. Because like what Brian's going through is trauma from the Slaughterhouse 9. And Taylor's just like, let's go do things. Right? So yeah, it just did not work out for them. The Undersiders and the Ambassadors take out the teeth. They basically can take it like wreck everybody. But for the Butcher specifically, they lure the Butcher as close as they can to the harbor. And Cherish, whose power is out of control, kills the Butcher. So now the Butcher... Cherish's power is out of control because Bonesaw tuned it so that it's out of control.
So
basically, Cherish couldn't help but kill the Butcher.
What does that mean? Like she induced suicide?
Yeah, she induced the Butcher to commit suicide.
So anyone who gets close enough to the water, like,
yes, will immediately get hit with Cherish's negative emotions.
I felt worse. I think the trip to the beach is perfectly safe.
Well, now Cherish is A, some kind of disembodied corpse in a barrel in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, she's dead.
She's not dead. She is rigged up with mannequin's technology to live forever. But her power is tuned up and out of control, and she's tuned to sense every negative emotion in the city at all times.
Ooh.
And her power is not in her control, so like when the butcher walks into her range, the butcher immediately dies. And now Cherish has inherited the butcher's power and all of the voices and can't do anything about it.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah, a little, I guess.
I don't
Fair.
That's a lot. That's too. She can't even die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she deserves it. I'm sorry. She did some bad things. But I'm just like, whoa, there. That's a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit much. I'm gonna draw the line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna draw the line here. Like, listen, I will forever be sympathetic to suicidal, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
draw the line, man. Draw the line. Listen, you gotta give people an out. You gotta give people an out.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. It's a controversial one, but that's my opinion. I think you have to give people an out.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay. So Taylor spends some quality time with Bitch, and we find out that, you know,
you guys should date. That would be cute.
Bitch actually has grown to trust Taylor and actually believe in her. And they've actually gotten close, right?
You guys should date.
Hmm.
What's their ship name?
What is their ship name? I actually don't know.
Bug Dog?
Bug Dog, sure. And then finally, Taylor goes to visit Tattletale. Tattletale has overused her power in recent days, and so she's got a massive headache and her power's out of commission.
Like, just like short-circuited kind of thing?
Yeah, basically. But like massive migraine, I can't think and use my power anymore, right? But Tattletale says, okay, well, I already know what you're doing. I know why you're here, right?
What?
Which is Taylor saying goodbye to Tattletale. Lisa says, go give him hell. And then Taylor goes to the PRT and surrenders herself. And that's the end of the arc. Yeah. Well, it makes sense, right? Cut ties. Arc 22, in which Taylor is in custody. So Taylor gets arrested. Dina shows up, but refuses to work with Director Tag. And Taylor makes an ultimatum, which is she says, you're going to agree to all of my terms. You're gonna agree to all of my terms by sunset. Otherwise my team is going to attack, right? Because she left them a note that says, if you don't hear from me by sunset, attack the PRT headquarters, right? Director Tag is a hard ass and refuses to play ball there. So Taylor calls in a lawyer. She Mr. I think Calle, Calle, she works with her lawyer to write out a list of demands. She finds out that the Slaughterhouse 9 has gone into hibernation for the next 2 years. They basically stole a bunch of hibernation technology and also a bunch of
Who stole it?
the Slaughterhouse 9.
They stole hibernation technology.
They stole hibernation technology and cloning technology. Yeah. So it's a little scary, and they're pretty sure that the S9 have gone into hibernation for the next 2 years because Jack just wants to live to see the end of the world. Right.
How do you translate, like, for the listeners,
Hmm?
Disgruntled?
Neat. Let's see. Tag calls in Taylor's dad to, screw with her, basically. And then Alexandria shows up to interrogate Taylor. Yeah, so Taylor refuses to like cave to any of Alexandria's demands, and Alexandria basically
What are the demands?
well, so Taylor wants to like do all sorts of she has a bunch of demands. One of which is leave the Undersiders alone, right? They're the warlords. Yeah, Taylor has demands, which is like leave the Undersiders alone. They are the warlords of Brockton Bay, and they will work with you to keep the peace, but you can't hurt them, right? Or you can't stop them. And then also, I am going to join the PRT, and yeah,
Taylor says she'll join the PRT.
she says, don't send me to the birdcage. Use me to hunt the Slaughterhouse 9, whatever it is, right? Use me. I want to do good, right? Because I need to be doing something to prepare for the end of the world, right? And everyone around them is just like, no, we're not caving into those demands. Those are ridiculous, right?
Wait, why?
Why? You think these are reasonable demands?
Why, bud? I don't know.
Yeah. Like, just think of it this way. Director Tag is refusing these demands, and then Alexandria shows up and is just like, well, if you don't just stay quiet and call off the Undersiders from attacking us, I'm just gonna have to deal with the Undersiders myself.
You bitch.
And Taylor basically calls her bluff and says no, and Alexandria says okay, and then she flies out, and then 5 minutes later she comes back with an injured like Taylor's able to sense things with her bugs, right? She senses that Regent has been caught and is injured.
What the fuck?
And then she Alexandria comes back to interrogate Taylor again. And then
you guys should kill her.
And then Taylor still refuses to cooperate, right? So she flies out again. 5 minutes later she comes back with Imp.
Ooh, bad move.
Right?
Ooh, bad move.
So Taylor like is trying to send out warnings. Like she uses her bugs to dial a telephone to call Tattletale and right?
That's really funny.
But
That's really funny.
But she's unable to like help. Basically she's unable to like send a coherent message to Tattletale. And then Alexandria flies out a third time, and this time she brings back a body bag with a dead body inside.
You know, I'm sure it's been said before, man, the heroes in this world are certainly something.
They really are, aren't they?
Absolutely no moral.
Taylor goes into a rage, and the next time Alexandria flies back, she stuffs 1 billion bugs into Alexandria's mouth.
A full billion.
A ton of them.
Yes, go on.
She does the same to Tag. And she murders them both.
You asked for it. You guys actually kind of asked for it.
And then Taylor gets knocked out. Right?
Ooh, I like this. Go, girl.
When she wakes up, she finds that the entire PRT headquarters is empty. Her bugs had been rampaging the entire time.
You know, for heroes, you the heroes, for like, you really would have thought, I don't know. What if you don't think this was the smartest thing that they could do? We have a villain in our custody. We know she's kind of unstable, and we're just gonna myrtle her friends? Who thought this was a good idea?
Right?
You might actually
okay. But here's the thing. When she escapes from her jail cell, she encounters Dragon and Defiant, who tell her, your team's okay, actually. Alexandria didn't actually kill any of your teammates or even capture any of them.
Oh, shit.
Alexandria, that's a common interrogation technique she uses to push prisoners to their breaking point so that they'll confess and work with her, right?
Did you not think about who you were trying to break?
And the reason Alexandria can do this is because she can read micro expressions and know when someone's at their breaking point, right? But for some reason, Dragon Dragon theorizes that for some reason the reason that Alexandria wasn't able to read Taylor's expressions was because her emotions are offloaded to her bugs. So Alexandria wasn't able to get a good read off of Taylor and pushed her too far.
And as far as an interrogation technique, again, Alex, like that. Whose fault is this?
Mm-hmm.
Whose fault is this? Whose fault? You got no.
Yeah, seriously. So Undersiders are just fine. Alexandria's dead. Tag is dead.
You guys were assholes, and you kind of deserved it. I'm not gonna say no, seriously, they deserved it. The heroes in this world are shit. Like, I cannot think of other pieces of fiction. It's hard to think of other pieces of fiction in which the heroes are willing to firebomb the city, murder people. We're gonna break the heroes past the breaking point by making them think that we killed their loved ones. We're gonna commit harassment. We're gonna swing our weight around, hurt it her.
So
guys.
So Dragon and Defiant.
You guys are fucking morons.
Dragon and Defiant negotiate with Taylor.
Not master.
Yes.
I don't care what name you think that you have. We know your name. It's Nub Master.
All right, Nub Master. They convince Taylor to stand down, and they come to a deal. They make an announcement. The announcement being, turns out Alexandria was secretly working with Cauldron and was also what's her name? Was also the head of the PRT, which is technically not allowed because the idea is.
She was head of the PRT?
Yeah, she was. She was both a superhero and a civilian leader of the PRT. And when this came out, Alexandria went on a rampage, and Taylor was the one who saved us, essentially. That's the story they spun.
Dragon, I like you.
It's not just Dragon. Everybody basically came together to decide this. The entire PRT decided this is the story we're giving.
Because they can't let it get out
that well, first of all, that Taylor killed Alexandria like that.
A villain who's so powerful.
Yeah. But second, also, they actually decide to work with Taylor.
Well, and also they're throwing Alexandria under the bus.
Exactly. Yeah. And the announcement is made that that Taylor is now adopting a new name and joining the wards. From now on, she's going to be Weaver. And that's the end of that arc.
What?
I mean, that's kind of what Taylor wanted, right? She wanted to.
She didn't want to join.
She is now.
Wait, I thought she didn't want to join.
She didn't want to join, but
She actually want to join?
At this point, she is because she decided that she needed to cut ties.
So she wants to. She's happy to join. Oh yeah, that's right. That's one of her demands.
Yeah, one of her demands was you let me keep doing hero stuff, like cape stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, girl. Wow, you not only did you kill one of the top heroes, but you got away with it.
Yep.
I am so proud of you. Are you writing that down?
Yes, of course.
Wow, that is an impressive achievement. That is extremely impressive. So you got away with murder. You actually got away with murder. Good job, girl. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I'm so proud of you. That is such a feat.
Yeah.
If Foyle were here to see this.
Right?
But alas, that dick, he isn't. Good riddance. I'm glad he's dead.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm like the worst. Is this actually entertaining for you? People making these sorts of comments?
Yes.
Oh my god. Hopefully I don't get arrested for some stupid thing someday. They're gonna be like, is this you? Are you Bloodthirsty Panda? And I'm gonna be like, who's asking? Oh my god, you guys really all deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, for fuck's sake, what did you think was going to happen? What did you guys actually think was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I've got a great idea. Let's pick the most unstable villains. Oh my god, you guys are morons!
In the next arc, Taylor has to learn how to be a hero instead of a villain.
She's been kind of accurate.
She has been, but basically,
Hey, Clockblocker, sorry I stuffed your nose full of ants. Let bygones be bygones.
they don't they transfer her out of Brockton Bay for this. She actually goes to Chicago. Yeah, she gets transferred to the Chicago wards. We met some of them during the she met some of them during the Echidna fight. So she actually recognizes a few of them. But she has to learn how to work with the Chicago wards.
Oh gosh, you gotta learn how to be a person.
She has to learn how to be a
Oh
person.
my god, this is so hard, girl. This is your toughest fight yet. Good luck.
Right.
I can't even do this. I don't know how to do this. I can't help you.
The HR person basically tells Taylor, you're not allowed to use like all of your bugs anymore. Use butterflies only. Because you need to learn how to manage your public relations. Right?
What?
And she's just like, that's bullshit.
Bullshit.
But then she
disposal. And you want to fucking butterfly?
Uh-huh.
No. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Why but? Why fucking but? You are being unfair to Taylor.
Uh-huh. Somewhere during this, Alexandria's body gets stolen and
It's
like
stolen.
yeah, and this hero, well, not hero, this villain, I think.
I mean, heroes don't. Well, I would say. Oh well. I mean, yeah, heroes don't steal bodies, but I don't know. Heroes pretend to commit murder in this universe, so I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm. Actually, oh, I don't even know if this is correct. Okay, no. There is a certain cape named Pretender who can take over other people's bodies.
So how does this make a difference from Reader?
Literally inhabits their bodies. Right. Pretender is captured by Cauldron. What else?
Great.
Taylor has a confrontation with her HR manager, Glenn.
Glenn.
Yeah. Basically has a huge argument. That's all about, well, what's the need for public relationships? What's the need for like having a good image, right?
Excellent question,
And
Taylor. Good point.
Glenn kind of like presents a lot of good points of like, well, I mean, you need to be effective, right? And like, this is my way of being effective for you. Like, so much of the battle just comes down to influencing public relationships and to basically deal with the public in a way that they find acceptable, right?
This is why.
Taylor meets with a therapist. Oh, by the way, there was a therapist introduced in an interlude, but it wasn't that important. She's one of the fan favorite characters in Worm, but
Why are you saying it like that? Are you making fun of me?
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying for like maybe 13 arcs straight, you've been saying that everybody needs therapists.
They all need therapy. Wow.
They have been getting therapy, or they got therapy recently.
A little late there, buddy.
Yeah. So Taylor talks a little bit with a therapist. The wards go to do an outreach program at a high school. And Taylor basically tells kids that drugs are fantastic.
What?
I'm kind of glossing over this.
I need to get to this part. Can we zoom in?
You really? No, I'm not zooming in. I need to finish everything. I need to tell you about everything. We can zoom in later. But she basically tells kids that like turning into like gaining superpowers is not actually a great thing, right? It might be one of the worst things in the world.
Her costume?
They did.
Is it some frilly purple?
It's not frilly purple or pink. It's a white version of her costume instead.
What is this?
You look done with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And then the high school visit is cut short because because Behemoth, the third Endbringer, is attacking India.
So they're going to India.
So the wards have Taylor herself has decided to go to India. Defiant,
I'm glad you get to be a hero.
Defiant, who is
Fuck you.
trying to become a better person, gives Taylor a jetpack. So she gets a jetpack against the in the fight against Behemoth. She gets to meet up with the Undersiders again.
Yay!
And she works together with the Undersiders and the Chicago wards. Chicago wards. To basically lead the fight. Of this little team.
Oh, they're letting her be in charge.
Uh-huh.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, girl. I'm so proud.
Do I skip this? Yeah, I think I skipped this interlude. In the next arc, it's entirely the Behemoth fight, right?
Oh my god, I'm so proud of you.
I'm just going to sum up the Behemoth fight with things don't go well for a really long time. Like Taylor does a lot of amazing things, but it kind of like is just barely able to help them survive, and Behemoth is like nowhere near dying.
Was Behemoth able to?
Oh, let me describe Behemoth for a sec. So the Simurgh is kind of known as the sky Endbringer, right? Leviathan is the water Endbringer, sea, ocean. Behemoth is all about the earth, right? He creates earthquakes and tremors. He unleashes like lethal doses of radiation.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's space.
I guess so, but like
Feels space.
yeah, like it's dangerous to even be near him because like of his radiation. He's also known as the first Endbringer because the way the Endbringers work is they attack on a schedule, and it used to be that
Attack on a.
yeah.
So let me get this straight. The good guys, the quote unquote, the good guys will use fire bombs, threaten to kill the heroes' relatives and friends, and what do you say he does?
Director Tag, you mean?
This guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Commit harassment. Basically, cut off your childhood dreams at the knees, and the bad guys are also punctual.
I guess so. More or less, yeah.
To everything, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything.
It used to be that Behemoth would attack once a year or something like that. And then over time, the second Endbringer appeared, Leviathan appeared, and then they attacked more frequently, like once every 6 months. And then when the Simurgh appeared, they started attacking like once every 4 months or once every 3 months or something like that. So basically, the Endbringers will show up like clockwork. Every 3 months, a different one will appear in a new location, and all of the heroes, all of the capes have to gather together to fend them off and defend the city.
Right. And the only reason everyone tolerates the heroes being pretty much because
is to fend them off. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So there is a cape named Firse or something like that. Phirse. IR space SE. I don't know what it means, but I think it's Indian or something like that.
Firse Ujjala, sung by Mohit Chauhan.
Mm-hmm.
Firse Nita. Firse 2015 film.
But yeah, Firse is essentially generating a time bomb.
Oh yeah, he's in. Oh, I guess. Oh yeah, you know what?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what the meaning is.
There it is. Meaning in English. It is Hindi and it means again.
Okay, yeah. He has time powers.
Oh, did you Google this? Did you just Google translate this?
He probably did.
Or did you watch a Bollywood film and you saw like something cool?
Firse is generating a bomb by sending energy back in time and like looping it over and over again until it's grown into like this Super Saiyan like.
Wow, that's very cheesy.
Spirit bomb, and he manages to hit Behemoth. Behemoth just gets back up, right? The group retreats and they decide, this is probably our last stand. We're not going to win against Behemoth. Behemoth is known as the hero killer, right? There's a really badass chapter where Chevalier, one of the heroes,
Chevalier!
yeah, Chevalier.
You need to watch Blood Plus.
Nice. Just basically does a final stand. He wields his big giant anime sword and like fends and holds off Behemoth from like killing other people. And the moment he falls, right, the moment he loses the Behemoth, Scion comes and he actually just straight up destroys Behemoth.
In one shot?
I don't know if it's in one shot,
Okay,
but like but he actually kills Behemoth.
For good.
For good.
Like he's dead.
For the first time, an Endbringer is actually killed.
Scion, why couldn't you have done any of this shit earlier?
Right?
What the fuck, man?
Do you want me to flash back to an interlude called The Strongest Man in the World? Because...
Fuck you. Saitama's 3 times the... Saitama's like 1,000 times the hero as you are. Saitama wouldn't leave us in the lurch like this. I hope you lose all your hair when you lost all your
no, it's called The Most Powerful Man in the World. This is...
your dick falls off.
You
already lost that.
This is an interlude in the Echidna arc, in arc 18, right? It's about this hobo named Kevin Norton.
Hobo?
Yep. Who tells a story about how decades ago, like in 1980 something or whatever, he was walking on the street and found a floating golden man who was sad.
Oh. Who was sad?
Who was sad. And like just moping, right? And Kevin Norton basically said to him, well, that's a shame. If you're just going to like have all these powers and float there, you might as well go out and do good things, right? Save people, save kittens.
Kevin Norton is the hobo.
Yes.
Aww.
Like go save people, save things, like fight the Endbringers, right? Actually, I don't know if the Endbringers were a thing at that point, but basically go out and go do good deeds, right? And ever since then, Scion has been going out and doing good deeds nonstop. And every once in a while, he'll stop by and he'll listen to what Kevin Norton's going to say, right?
Oh, damn.
So Kevin Norton specifically...
How old is Kevin Norton?
He's like old.
We need to keep this man alive.
In his interlude, I'll get to it. In his interlude, he's explaining to this woman who did him a kindness. Her name is Lizette. He's explaining to her.
That's a nice name, Lizette.
Yeah, that he has a terminal illness, and the reason he's telling her this is because someone else needs to know this, right? He basically says, this man, Scion, he listens to whatever I say, and like he's like a child in that way. He listens exactly to whatever I say.
Oh, damn.
And years ago, I told him to fight the Endbringers. I must have made a mistake. I realize now what I should have told him then, and what I'm going to tell him now is to kill the Endbringers. So he turns to Scion. He says,
human?
So he turns to Scion and he says, Scion, this is Lizette. From now on, I want you to follow, to listen to her the way you would listen to me, right?
Oh God, Lizette, please be a good person.
And then, well, he's assuming Lizette's a good person because she gave him, like, she treated him with kindness, right? But he basically said, please listen to Lizette and also kill the Endbringers next time you fight them. So that is why now, out of all times, Scion has finally decided to kill Behemoth. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, so for once, humanity actually had a victory against the Endbringers. Taylor officially joins the Chicago Wards at the end of this fight.
Right. Okay, so Taylor's Chicago.
She's a Chicago girl now.
Did you spend a lot of time in Chicago?
I don't know. She might have. He might have. What else? We find out that that Pretender is now in Alexandria's body. So he has all of her powers now too.
Ooh.
And then the whole time Taylor had a video that was recording like the events of the Behemoth fight, right? That video gets quote unquote leaked by someone.
What happened? What got leaked?
The video of her fight against Behemoth, right?
Video of Taylor's fight against
Behemoth, yeah. It gets leaked, and that actually improves her public image and relations with the public. P.S. It was Glenn who did it.
Alright, good guy, Glenn.
Yeah, and so as a result, Taylor doesn't get into a whole lot of trouble for violating a bunch of protocols. And yeah, we finally get to see Taylor just we see her life as a Chicago ward for a little while, right? We're now in Arc 25. Arc 25 Scarab. Taylor is a worker. Yes, Scarabs.
Yeah. Eat some flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she joins the Chicago wards. Do you remember Theo from the Slaughterhouse 9 interludes? He's Kaiser's son, who was with Purity when Jack came to pay her a visit. Do you remember that?
Theo what?
Theo.
Right. He was with. Right. He was in that room when Jack slashed Shade and killed Oni
Lee, yeah.
Oni's dad.
Well, he had after killing Oni Lee, right?
Yeah.
And Theo made a promise with Jack that in 2 years they're going to face off with each other.
In 2 years.
They're going to face off with each other. Theo and Jack. Right? Who knows what brings the end of the world?
Okay. Listen, yeah. How much more have you got? Because I'm starting to like.
You're starting to fade? Okay, I can sum up everything pretty quickly, I think. Okay, let's skip that. Theo joins the wards. He's finally gained powers, and he actually becomes good friends with Taylor. Yeah, Chicago and the Chicago wards like deal with a bunch of like local villains, and Taylor is a workaholic. She really wants to like get all the crimes dealt with.
You know why she's a workaholic? Same reason I am. I'm not a workaholic. It's just if you have no sense of self-worth and you are traumatized, you will constantly try to move down the checklist so you can feel something like you actually are worthy.
From Taylor's perspective, she's just like, oh, like all of you who are causing shit and like in hurting people, you need to realize the world's ending in 2 years and that we need every person we can, right? Do something that's worthwhile with your life. That's the kind of attitude she has.
Oh man, the world ends in 2. You know, I wish somebody would tell me the world would end in 2 years because I would just quit my job. We have enough money to get by for the next 2 years. And just go wherever we want to do whatever.
Yeah. There's a really hilarious TV appearance, and then we find out.
A hilarious TV appearance. Oh my god.
And then we find out that a fourth Endbringer has appeared.
What the fuck?
Yep. Because one Endbringer has been killed, a fourth Endbringer appears.
So there's always.
And
no, this is the worst one.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, there's
like time or something.
I think there's a time Endbringer.
Oh, because I was just then you've got Earth and Sea and Sky. So what's next? Time.
And then like a fifth Endbringer also appears. Yep. And Cauldron basically
starts handing out powers for free.
Actually starts revealing themselves and basically saying, "Yep, the world's going to end very soon. We don't know what's causing the Endbringer attacks, but we just want you to know that like this is bad for all of us, right?" And then we do a time skip to 2 years later, and Taylor's 18th birthday, where she reflects on everything that's happened.
Oh god, this is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
This is so sad. Why is this so sad?
She goes back to Brockton Bay before getting sworn into the Protectorate, and then Jack / the Slaughterhouse 9 finally wake up. The Slaughterhouse 9, for the past 2 years, have been growing clones of every single Slaughterhouse 9 member in the past.
Wait, what? Can you say that again?
Clones of every single Slaughterhouse 9 member.
Wait, because they stole
cloning technology. Yep. So the next arc is a huge fight against the Slaughterhouse 9000, right? Where
Oh my god. As if they weren't annoying enough. How many people are left in the Slaughterhouse 9?
Well, when we last checked, it was like 3 or 4. But guess what? They got the DNA of every single Slaughterhouse 9 member prior, living and dead. So all of them are back.
All of them forever, even before the current generation that we met.
Exactly. So this is an intense arc with a lot of fighting and with Jack basically like causing the most chaos as possible, and also just being like, I wonder if this is gonna trigger the end of the world. I wonder if this is going to be. He kidnapped Aster, who is Purity's daughter. And he's just like, oh, maybe we should like torture her, right?
Wait, what? Torture who?
Torture Aster's daughter. Aster is torture Purity's daughter, whose name is Aster.
Right.
She's like 3 or 4.
They tortured an infant? Wait, the Slaughterhouse 9 court?
They were ready to torture an infant.
Who was ready?
The Slaughterhouse 9.
Okay,
Yeah. They were ready to...
Look, I'm sorry, the heroes don't have a good track record. I'm just checking.
Yeah. Well, they were ready to torture her or like freeze her in time or something like that. So Taylor shoots her to make sure she doesn't trigger and like end the world.
Wait.
And then
she shot a baby?
Not a baby, a toddler. But you know, just things you do to not end the world. Finally,
what?
The arc culminates in Theo figuring out how to defeat Jack Slash. But with his final words, Jack Slash says something that Scion is able to hear.
I'm your daddy?
Nope. What he says to Scion is, all that power, and you're just using it to do good things. You could honestly just be doing whatever you want, right?
Why is he listening to Jack?
And Scion listens to this.
Why?
And decides, oh, well, I guess helping all these people hasn't made me feel better these years, so let's try and doing the opposite of that. And so Scion starts destroying everything. He starts by annihilating Europe.
Fuck your cheese.
Yep.
Fuck your cheese, France.
Brockton Bay is destroyed. Everyone meets with Cauldron.
Does someone listen to Jack?
We get an interlude here to finally explain Scion's perspective.
He's an alien.
Yep, and I already told you this a long time ago. Scion was one of 2 entities. They are an alien species who used to war with each other, but then realized that the more they warred, the more they were losing resources, and that entropy is what they're gonna have to try to solve.
What?
Yep.
Entropy is how they what?
Entropy is their natural enemy. That because of entropy, there's a lack of resources, and because of entropy, we're all going to die eventually. So they all like these entities decide to form into like these giant interdimensional beings to and set out across the universe to figure out a solution to entropy. The way they do it is, as a pair, they'll arrive at a place with sentient life. They'll send out their powers, like pieces of themselves, to the sentient life, and then they'll have the sentient life go into combat with each other and use their powers in conflicts so that they can collect more data. Because maybe...
Oh, the shard thing.
The shard thing, yeah. Maybe if they have enough powers interacting with each other in interesting ways, they'll find a cure to entropy.
Oh, you guys didn't do so hot thermodynamics.
Right? So they wanted to do that. However...
Although, have you seen Madoka Magica? Because this is...
I'm sure he has, but...
I'm just saying, this is the entire Cube thing.
Yeah.
When did this come out? 2012?
2012.
Yeah, that's around the same time as Madoka.
Yeah. However, Scion is known as the warrior entity, and his counterpart, who is never named, but we call her Eve or Eden. Eden is known as the thinker entity, and Eden kind of
so it's Link versus Zelda. Go on.
Yeah, Eden runs into a third entity,
Ganon.
who we call Abaddon,
Ganon.
who exchanges shards with her, right? And
Oh, kinky.
yeah, right. And she finds a new it's called the Path to Victory shard, I think. It's basically the power that lets you see into the future and figure out. Yeah, it's kind of related to Dina's shard. It's also related to Contessa's shard, who I have. She is a person who works for Cauldron, and who's kind of their boogeyman because she can.
Boogeyman?
Yeah, they call her a Cauldron's
Oh,
boogeyman.
that is the great. That's a great word.
Yeah,
Boogeyman.
because she's undefeatable. She always knows exactly what to do to defeat you, right? Or to achieve her goals.
Because
she's got the shard that lets her do that, right? Yeah. What happened is Eve gained this Path to Victory shard and was just like, "Oh, there's an interesting way to set up our experiment," right? But she was so distracted that she crashed into the earth and scattered her shards. Contessa gained
Incidentally, well, do you have any religious hang-ups? Asking for a friend.
Contessa, who at the time was a child named Fortuna.
Of course.
Gained the Path to Victory shard and learned how to kill Eden. So she killed Eden right then and there.
Why?
Because giant alien entity crashes into your Earth and accidentally grants you a power that shows you that their intentions are to destroy the world.
Oh.
Yeah. She's just like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna kill you," right? Eden is able to seal away.
I feel like this kind of thing happened.
Yeah, Eden is able to seal away Fortuna's power partially by basically creating a blind spot regarding entities, but Eden dies, right? And so the reason Scion is grieving is because his counterpart, his partner, the one who makes all the plans, is dead, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And that's why he just listens to people. And here's the thing: both of them have decided to take on human forms, in order to blend in because it's part of the plan, right?
Yes, I will turn myself into a golden Oscar man, and that's how I'm going to blend in. Just turn myself into this gold statue Jesus thing, and I'm just gonna float around in the ocean, glinting in the sun.
But yeah.
That's exactly how you blend in with the local population.
So as a result of this, Scion, this alien entity, has a partially human body and is dealing with all these human emotions that he doesn't know how to deal with.
Get in line, sir. Get in the fucking line.
And so he goes on a rampage.
Therapy.
If only there was a therapist.
There was. He might have just killed her.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So the world tries to fight against Scion. They lose spectacularly in Arc 27. Eidolon tries to fight Scion. And Scion uses his path to victory to basically tell.
He has one too.
Yep. To tell Eidolon, "Oh, by the way, you're the reason the Endbringers exist." And Eidolon is so devastated that he gets that Scion kills him, right?
Wait, why is that related? Or is it not? And Scion's just fucking.
It's mostly unrelated. It's just he says the perfect thing to make Eidolon give up fighting.
Yeah, but Eidolon has a reason for thinking this. Does the Word of God or anyone ever explain why the Endbringers are related to Eidolon?
It is explained, but it's kind of a tangential thing. Essentially.
I need to know now.
Okay. The thing is, Eidolon created the Endbringers because he constantly
created them?
Unconsciously created them because his power. He felt like he needed to fight stronger opponents, right? Because that's what gave him purpose. It's what gave him a feeling of self-fulfillment, and his power granted him that.
I write fan fiction, buddy. I'm just saying, I'm not offering any suggestions. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just saying, you know what I do to fill that gaping hole in my chest? That thing that you're doing with the Endbringers here, I write fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I go jogging.
Yeah.
Try yoga.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Eidolon dies, right? Arc 28, the heroes are basically saying, oh well, we're kind of losing this battle. Everyone's gonna give up and just try to survive in like scattered places because now at least we have access to the to alternate dimensions. We can run away, right? Um uh Taylor says,
What
no.
were you smoking when you wrote this whole thing?
Taylor says, no, fuck this. We need to get everyone together so we can fight. So the Undersiders convinced the Endbringers to join their side.
What?
The Endbringers, yep. The Endbringers.
Wait, you can talk to them? They understand?
Tattletale and Taylor are able to figure out a way to communicate with them.
Okay, I'm sorry. Look, considering Leviathan is a whale, do you know what I'm picturing?
Uh-huh.
You know that scene from Finding Nemo when all hope is lost and Marlin and Dory are inside the whale?
Uh-huh. They talk to the Simurgh, by the way, who is arguably the smartest of the Endbringers.
Okay. but I'm just saying. I'm just picturing them doing the like whale thing, like we need you to help us.
Yeah, it's basically like that, except instead of using like Dory's whale voice, they use their powers to communicate. Yeah. Yeah.
You need to pause. I need to process.
Arc 29. Okay, we'll pause for a second.
I need to process this.
Uh-huh.
Oh my fucking god. I thought you could talk to the Endbringers. I thought they were just like, mindless killing machines.
They talk to the Endbringers by using their powers to talk to them.
Okay, but given what you told me about the Simmer, that conversation, I imagine it going something like...
Yeah, something like that. They basically say, well, I mean, your daddy's dead. Eidolon's dead. You don't have a purpose anymore. So why not kill the person who killed Eidolon? That's the extent of their argument. And the Simurgh basically agrees.
Okay, listen. I've been struggling with this whole no purpose thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it says about me, that I'm just like, oh, I have no purpose, kill myself. And all of these people are like, I have no purpose, kill someone else. Excuse me, can I... What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Respectfully.
I mean, the end of Worm is a fucking roller coaster, and I love it.
It doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense to me.
Good for you, and that's why you're not suicidal. Excellent. Anyway.
Okay.
What? I mean, okay, no, it makes sense, but it also is like...
Mm-hmm. All right.
What?
Let's go on the home stretch. It's a lot, okay? So Scion kills more people. He kills more people, more and more people. The Undersiders get a reprieve. And in this arc, they basically go and investigate Cauldron, right? A bunch of the Capes who are especially some of the the case 59s, I think.
Bless you. I don't know what that means.
These are the people who were experimented on by Cauldron, right? They call themselves the Irregulars, and they have a beef to pick with a bone to pick with Cauldron. So the Undersiders and a bunch of the Irregulars end up going into Cauldron to figure out what's going on, right? And to see if there's any solution to fighting Scion. The case 53s, sorry, not 59s. The case 53s kind of go on a rampage inside. They Cauldron actually, by the way, has these powers. A bunch of powerful powers. One of them is the ability to generate doors, right? Like portals to other places. So they've been helping people move around with the doors up until now. For some reason they just stopped responding to requests.
Cauldron's making
Yeah, there is a cape named Doormaker who literally can just make doors between dimensions. And from one place to another. Yeah. What else? The doctor dies. Then they find Eden's flesh garden, like her corpse. This
I'm sorry, did you just call a corpse a flesh garden?
Yep. Because it's literally like this giant landscape full of like hands and like different body parts like reaching out. And
Different body parts reaching out, you say.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I thought of something dirty.
fair enough.
Is there like there's just a sea of dicks?
Mm,
Dicks everywhere.
maybe there's dicks,
I'm
probably.
just saying, a body. You told me like, yeah, you know, they're just body parts, just sticking up out of the ground, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
dicks.
It's revealed. It's revealed that Cauldron has been harvesting this body in order and experimenting in order to develop ways to give people powers. They've been using Eden's body. Yep. And then Scion arrives, finds her body, gets sad, and then gets angry.
Scion finds
Eden's
lover.
her partner's body, gets sad, gets angry, and then and the group managed to escape while Scion vents his anger.
How does he vent his anger?
Well, destroying more things. That's essentially it. Yeah, he goes out and he like goes on a frenzy of attacking. And Taylor is just like, well, we're screwed. Panacea, can you unlock more?
Panacea's still around?
Panacea's still around. She escaped from the birdcage. We kind of gloss over that. Don't worry about it.
What?
She didn't escape from the birdcage. They let her out of the birdcage when Scion started rampaging.
Right.
Because guess what? You need every hand on deck, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah. So Taylor's just like, Panacea, can you make me stronger? I need you to mess with my mind, right?
Panacea, we need you to get.
I need to get
Taylor
stronger.
says, I need to get stronger, so you gotta.
Yeah, can you mess with my head? So Panacea finally gets convinced. She does it, and that's when everything goes wrong. And we finally go to the last arc, arc 30.
What do you mean everything goes wrong?
Everything goes wrong. Taylor wakes up, and she realizes she can no longer control her bugs very well. Her range is extremely short. Everything is like, she can't focus, she can't concentrate really well, right? And then she realizes she's able to control other humans. So this arc is kind of this slow escalation as she tries to figure out what can I do, right? And the first thing she does is she hijacks Doormaker and starts using Doormaker to to teleport around wherever, right? And then she starts gathering up all the other capes who have run away from the fight, and she starts taking over their bodies basically. And she does this by opening portals nearby them because her range is so short. It's like what, 5 feet or so now?
Oh wow, that's less than COVID distance.
Right? It's so short. It's extremely short. But since she hijacked Doormaker, she instead opens portals right next to her, and then right next to all of the capes she wants to control. And she creates like a cape of doors behind her.
A cape of doors behind her?
Yeah, so she like
so she goes flying and there's a bunch of doors behind her?
Not flying. She creates a bunch of doors. She creates a portal, turns it into a tiny portal, and then she
creates a portal and turns into a tiny portal.
And she stacks all the portals together to form a basically a cape for herself. And like over the course of this arc, she starts taking down Notorious. Like she has to fight this villain named Teacher in his group. She has to fight Dragon because Dragon tries to stop her. And then eventually, as she starts controlling more and more and more of the capes, she finally takes over every single one of them. And at that point, she can no longer speak English. Like, she can no longer speak, right? She can no longer recognize faces. She can no longer, like, she's basically lost, like, all her fine motor control. Yeah. Like the way the power has it's basically like taken over most of her mind, and she just can't function anymore, right? She's basically lost her mind, but now she's taken over every single cape, and she can finally fight Scion.
So she's basically using all of the keys.
Yep. Yep. She's controlling every single person, and with her multitasking powers, she's able to manage a fight against Scion. She finds that Foil, Flechette. Do you remember Flechette? Yeah. She finds that Flechette's power is a weakness against Scion, and then just as she's like fighting, just as she feels like she's making some progress, she uses up Doormaker's power. That they didn't realize it either, but she was using so many portals that Doormaker's power actually dies. And Taylor despairs, but at least everyone is gathered together. And Tattletale, along with a few others, basically figures out an alternate way to attack Scion. They create a thing that looks like Eden and feels like Eden.
Feels.
Yeah. Like Tattletale figures out, oh, okay, well, if we use Bitch's power on a dog, and then we have Panacea shape the dog's flesh into something that resembles Eden, it was enough to distract Scion. And Taylor realized,
young man, do you realize what you're doing? Oh wait, that's right. She's his partner, not his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Taylor realizes what Tattletale is doing, so she starts, which is getting an emotional reaction out of Scion. Right? So she starts like trying to do that too. And all of the other capes, they're no longer under Taylor's control anymore, but they figure out how to get to Scion. So they start creating like replicas of Eden as well.
So all the capes are, so everyone's just making Eden replicas to try to like fuck with Scion.
Right. And like Scion gets more and more frustrated until finally he just stops and he lets himself get hit with a super tinker weapon, and he dies.
Why? Because he's just been fucked with too much?
The fan theory is he asked himself, how do I make this pain stop?
There you go!
And
you
so,
get it. Now you get it.
And the shortest path, the shortest path to that was, oh, stop moving and let yourself get hit.
There you go. Wow, it took you a really long time to figure that out. Why did it take you so long to figure it out? I figured this out when I was 14.
So Scion is defeated.
Sorry, I'm being very nosy today. I'm sorry.
So Scion is defeated, but Taylor has completely lost her mind, and now she sees everyone as a threat. She thinks of everyone as an enemy.
Oh no, baby!
Like all these people, they're just fighting each other. They're yelling so loudly. They're like, sensory overload. Like she thinks of their hugs as like attacks. She is afraid of anyone. She thinks everyone is a danger. But when she tries to fight back, a little voice inside her says, "No, you shouldn't fight back." Right?
Right, that this is a hug.
Okay. Stuff like that. So Taylor finally convinces herself to stand down and walk through a door to a different dimension. And there she has a chat with Contessa. And Contessa basically asks her, "You're the woman who defeated Scion. Was it worth it?" And Taylor basically says, "No, I don't think it was. Like, I've lost too much. I would have done it a different way." And Contessa like finds that interesting, and then shoots her in the back of the head twice. And that's the end of arc 30.
Wait, Contessa was once again had like one of the plan everything, see, understand
Yeah,
everything.
Contessa has the path to victory power, essentially. So Contessa is able to chat with this person who lost all a sense of language, right? And so has a conversation with Taylor, and yeah, and then Contessa shoots her twice in the back of the head. Then we finally have 6 interlude chapters that are epilogues, right? We get to see what happens with Bonesaw, with we get to see what happens with Imp.
This is depressing. Why do you guys like this so much?
We get to see what happens with Defiant and Dragon, with Rachel. And then finally, we find out that Taylor seems to be alive in an alternate dimension, and she gets to have a chat with an alternate version of her mother. And that is the end of Worm.
Wow, I'm really glad we didn't read Vidma.
I love it. I love this story so much.
Okay, so when other people want to kill themselves,
Well, can I just point out that Scion didn't know how to deal with grief, whereas we as humans actually kinda
we're used to it.
are used to it a little
We're
more.
mortal. Everybody dies.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the entirety of Worm. You have there's a lot of details I skimmed over, of course, but more or less you have been given all the major spoilers. There's some gems in here that I still want to share with you, but
I have no idea what to say about it.
fair. Yeah. Well, what do you think? You think it's depressing? Like your impression here is kind of depressing.
Yeah, this is kind of depressing.
But ultimately, she saves humanity, right? She did something amazing, but at the cost of herself. Mm-hmm. Like the epilogues are all really like bittersweet, and they kind of show like humanity recovering. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, what a trip! All right. It seems like you're a little overwhelmed, Panda.
I don't know what to say.
Okay. I don't think anyone's watching, but
I don't know what to say, man. What am I supposed to say?
do you have any questions?
No,
Okay. All right. Well, I think we can end the stream here and give Panda some time to process. A very
if you have questions, yeah, just
yeah, it's a lot to take in all at once. And that end is such a whirlwind ride of like just big, I don't know, big moments, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know what I'm supposed to.
Well, what do you think of the fact that Taylor controls people?
Oh, good. Well, she killed a baby, and now she can control people.
Not related, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, wow, that progression. That was a pretty sharp slide there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what to say? What to say?
Okay, you don't have to say anything. Just we'll give you a chance to process. All right? But yeah, I'm gonna say that last epilogue is shown from Taylor's perspective. So
Okay. Well,
not an entirely sad ending.
okay. Alright. So,
All right. Well,
alright.
I think we will call it a night here.
Yep, that seems like a good idea.
Thanks for watching, everyone.